Hello and welcome to the secondary episode of Lombardi Party. I unfortunately don't have a live audience with me today. I only paid them for one episode and they wouldn't come back. But make some noise for me wherever you're sitting or standing or driving or walking. I don't care what you're doing as long as you're listening to Lombardi Party. I had a long episode in store today, and we may still get to it. Probably not, though, because we have had some big news in the Packers nation. Packers are losing some, I don't want to say big pieces, but pieces nonetheless. First of all, the battle of the QB2s is over. Pratt versus Clifford. Who won? Somehow Malik Willis won. Typical of Pratt and Clifford. They can't even win a battle amongst themselves. Malik Willis was traded to the Packers for a 7th overall pick. He's from the Tennessee Titans. Of course, he's not a needle mover. He was brought in to be a QB2, and that's what he's going to be. He solves the problem there because Pratt and Clifford were bad. I mean, they were just bad. And Malik Willis, I mean, he's not great. He's a QB2. But I took the liberty of looking up his stats. In 2023, Willis, only 5 passes. It's a tiny, tiny sample size, so bear with me. But in 2023, with those 5 passes, he went 4 for 5, so that's 80%. Pretty good. 74 yards, so that's an average of 14.8 yards per pass attempt. And a rating of 118.8. I mean, that is good stats. It's, like I said, it's a tiny sample size. Doesn't really mean anything. But do I think that Clifford could do that? No. Do I think Pratt could do that? No. So I think that we have, like, the battle's over. I think we solved it. I think we got it right, too. Getting rid of Clifford and Pratt was the right choice. Neither of them were QB2 caliber, QB3 caliber maybe. I mean, Clifford might be out of the league. Pratt actually showed a little bit of promise, and I liked him a little bit, but I think I'm still going to like Malik Willis as the wide receiver quarterback 2 more. I think I'll feel more comfortable with that. So that was the first thing that the Packers did recently. It's not really, like I said, not a needle mover. Doesn't really matter that much as long as Jordan Love can stay healthy. Please let Jordan Love stay healthy. The other move, much more important, not even a move. AJ Dillon is out for the year. AJ Dillon, our running back 2, is out for the year with a season-ending neck injury. That's terrifying, first of all. I don't know what that really means because there's not any reporting on it other than neck injury. But if it's a season-ending one, I mean, that's scary. The neck is a serious place to get injured. And, of course, I'm wishing AJ Dillon a speedy recovery. I mean, it can't be that speedy, but I'm wishing him a full recovery. I hope he gets back to the form that he's out now. But it worries me for him because I don't know if he's going to be back on a football field after this. This is a really, really difficult injury. I mean, I assume it's a neck injury, and it doesn't seem like it's just a sprain or like a kink in the neck, you know, when you're sitting on the couch too long. Like, I don't know if he's going to get back on the football field. He had already regressed. In 2021, he was 187 attempts, 803 yards, 4.3 yards per attempt, and 5 touchdowns. In 2022, 186 attempts, so just 1 attempt less than 2021, 770 yards, so just 30 less yards, 4.1 average, so just 0.2 below 2021, and 7 touchdowns, so 2 more touchdowns than 2021. And 2023, last year, 178 attempts, so 8 less attempts, 613 yards, so that is 150, a little more than 150 less yards. 3.4 average, so that is almost a full yard difference between 2021 and 2023, and only 2 touchdowns, which obviously that's a 5 touchdown drop off. He was viewed as a premier running back too. Like, I saw people saying that the Packers were going to have one of the best running back duos in the league, even last year after that tiny regression. Even last year, people were saying AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones are one of the best running back tandems in the league. He's not talked about anymore. He did not live up to that whatsoever. And now, like, I don't know if he can ever get back to that with this injury. In terms of just football for the Packers, it puts more of a burden on Josh Jacobs. I've seen a lot of Josh Jacobs' washed opinions recently. I don't think that's true. I disagree. Comparing his stats from last year to the year before, he played 4 less games. He had 100 less carries. He had 800 less yards, which is a lot for just 4 less games. A 1.5 yard average decrease, that's pretty bad. And 6 touchdown decrease for 4 less games played. That is bad. I understand where these takes are coming from. I just don't think you're looking at the full picture yet. The situation in Oakland was awful. Awful. Nobody was bought in there. Nobody was bought in on the Raiders until their new coach. But even still, like, you're in Oakland, you're the Raiders, you're the worst culture in the NFL. Like, how are you supposed to play your heart out there, you know? He's coming to Green Bay now, like the best culture in the NFL, the best history in the NFL, one of the best up-and-coming teams in the NFL. It's going to be easy to want to go out there and play. It can't be easy to want to go out there and play for Josh Jacobs. I played for some pretty horrible teams. I never got anything close to the NFL, but I've played. I love basketball, and I played a lot of basketball, and I played for some horrible teams that went winless until the last game of the season. That's how bad we were. It was hard to want to go out there and play your heart out every single game. Obviously, I didn't have money on the line, but not winning sucks. Losing is hard to do, and it has to be even harder for these professional athletes who have worked their entire lives to get to where they are today, and to feel like it's being wasted, to feel like your prime, he's 26 years old, to feel like your prime is being wasted by an awful organization, something that has happened to too many players. That's got to be hard to play. I think when Josh Jacobs comes to Green Bay, it's going to be a different story. It's a completely different culture. It's a complete culture switch from one of the worst to one of the best. So I don't like this Josh Jacobs is washed propaganda. I think it's invalid. I don't think it's true. But like I said, I can see where it's coming from. We just have to look at the whole pictures, especially with running backs and young running backs. And speaking of young running backs, can Marshawn Lloyd step up? He's going to be the Packers' new running back too. That's a big position to fill. AJ Dillon was a good running back too. Like I said, he was one of the best before last year in that regression. Can he step up and fill those shoes? I have his college stats here. 116 attempts, 820 yards, 7.1 average, very, very good. 9 touchdowns, very, very good. I'm worried he's a little bit injury prone. I dug into his history. He tore his ACL, I believe, in 2020. And he had a bruise, a bruised thigh. Let me see. Yeah, here we go. A grade 3 knee ACL tear in 2020. Obviously, he was still in college at that point. And in 2022, he missed 3 games with a deep thigh contusion. And now he wasn't expected to start. He wasn't expected to be available for the beginning of the season hours ago, today, or I guess yesterday. he was expected to miss the start of the season. He was going to be put on IR, and they took him off, and now he's going to be able to start. But like, is he going to be able to start? Are they just doing this so he can come back earlier? Like, I don't understand, and I think that there's some stuff that the Packers aren't really telling us, which is understandable. It's their business, it's not really ours. But I just don't know if I can trust him to come in and just fill those shoes immediately. And then, like I said, I also worry about him getting injured. And if he gets injured, then we have to bring in Emmanuel Wilson. And he's really just a body. Like, he played decently against Baltimore in this preseason game. 11 attempts, 52 yards, 4.7 average. But, like, is that really anything? I don't think so. So I do worry about this a little bit. I don't think it should be too much of a problem. Which, that sounds terrible. Obviously, this is a terrible, terrible injury, and of course it's a problem for AJ Dillon. But in terms of the Packers season, I don't think that this is going to affect the Packers too much. But if dominoes start falling, if the ball starts rolling, I can see this really putting a hamper on this up-and-coming team. AJ Dillon is only 26, so maybe he'll be able to come back after this. I'm not sure. He's not playing this season. We know that for sure. And I really just don't trust Emmanuel Wilson in a football game, in a meaningful football game. I don't want to see him on the field, really. Marshawn Lloyd is already a little scary to me, just with his lack of experience, with his injury history. So Josh Jacobs is going to have a huge burden, and I'm happy that I got him on my Dynasty Fantasy team. But as a Packers fan, it worries me. Putting a burden like that on a running back, a young running back, and Josh Jacobs is a bulky guy. He's powerful, but that can work like against him, especially on these turf fields. Like, I worry about the health of this running back room. Do I think that any of these losses truly affect the Packers season? No. Unless worst case scenario comes. Dillon, I think losing AJ Dillon is the most impactful loss of these two losses. I mean, the first one, the Pratt versus Clifford battle, and then we bring in Wilson, that's not really a loss. It's more of just a trade, a net positive, I guess. I don't know. Like, it doesn't really matter. We have a quarterback too, just like we did before. Just now, you might be a little better, but God willing, Jordan Love is staying on the field for all 18 games or all 17 games plus the playoffs. And I worry about even saying that now. This could spell disaster for the Packers season. If Jacobs goes down, if Lloyd goes down, of course if Jordan Love goes down. And you can say that for every team in the NFL. If Patrick Mahomes goes down, the Chiefs are going to have a really hard time. If Josh Allen goes down, the Bills are going to have a really tough time. Like, of course, losing your star player hurts. But I don't know if the Packers have depth like other teams do at those positions. Of course, we have great wide receiver depth, but running back depth, I'm not loving. Quarterback depth, I'm not loving. It's time for my first ever segment on Lombardi Party. Whoa! It's called Make Your Take, and I'm the only one here, so I'm going to be making my take. My take this week is that Matt LaFleur is going to make a case for Coach of the Year next year. First off, I think he had one last year. I know that the Packers didn't have the record that a normal Coach of the Year would, but just the circumstances that he was in. You have first-year quarterback in Jordan Love. You have the youngest offense in the NFL. Aaron Jones was obviously a huge help. But you have the youngest offense in the NFL. You have a a bottom 5 defensive coordinator in Joe Barry. He was just wrecking things left and right. Single-handedly lost us the Bucs game. Single-handedly lost us the Giants game. I won't say single-handedly for the Giants game because Jordan Love played pretty poorly in that, and there was some bad weather, and you had freaking Danny DeVito going out there and torching us. But I'm going to go ahead and say that Joe Barry was a bottom 5 defensive coordinator in football. He almost lost us that Panthers game, the lowest scoring offense in the NFL last year, I believe. Dropped 30 on the Packers. That was Joe Barry. And yeah, he lost us a lot of games last year, close games. He's gone. But that's what Matt LaFleur was dealing with last year. To get us to where we were, we overachieved last year. To get the Packers to where they were, I think he had a case right there. But this year, I don't expect the dips like we had last year. I think that the Packers are going to win 10 games. If they win 11 or more, LaFleur is going to have a real case. Once again, it's going to be the youngest offense in football. It'll be the second straight year that Matt LaFleur is operating with the youngest offense in football. An offense that many players went on the record after playing us and just saying that it's different. They don't know what that offense is doing to make it run so well. I can't remember what the podcast is, but I think it's with Amon-Ra and his brother. And they were just saying that Packers offense is different. That's Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur is the one drawing those plays. He is making this run like a well-oiled machine, the one that it is. He's an incredible offensive mind. I put him up there with Sean McVay. I put him up there with Mike McDaniel. Well, maybe not Mike McDaniel yet. I think that Mike McDaniel and Kyle Shanahan are in a league of their own, but Matt LaFleur is right under that. He's legitimately that great at drawing up plays. Jordan Love, I think that was what was really causing the disconnect in the beginning of the season, is that they just didn't know how to work well with each other yet. And then they figured it out after that Steelers game that they lost. I think they played the Chargers next, and it was just all uphill from there. Of course, thank you, the Chargers. That's so like them. But I think that he's going to have a real case because the Packers are going to overachieve. They have unless the bottom falls out here, like everybody should be improving because they're all incredibly young. Jordan Love should improve. The wide receiver core should improve. Hopefully Christian Watson has figured out what was going on with his hamstring. They said it was something about one being stronger than the other, which makes sense. So hopefully he's going to be back and ready most of the season, and that'll be another weapon. So this wide receiver core is going to improve. I think that the running back position might be a little worse. I like Aaron Jones a little more than Josh Jacobs as a runner of the football. I think Josh Jacobs provides value in other places, and I just think that he fits the Packers' timeline better. So I think that Matt LaFleur is going to be in these Coach of the Year cases year after year. Not just this year, the next one, and the next one, and the next one. Packers are going to be in playoff contention. I mean, soon they're going to be a playoff lock. I think after this year, they'll probably be a playoff lock year in after year. And I think they're going to be title contenders year after year. That's where I think we're going. That's what I see for our future because of all the just perfect pieces in place. And Matt LaFleur being, I think, a Coach of the Year candidate is going to be able to put them together. So that's my show. That's my take. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart, of course. You guys are the best. I'll be here next Wednesday, same time. I'll just go ahead and give you a preview. We're going to be ranking the NFC North. I hope to have a fan of either the Lions, Vikings, or Bears to join me. But if not, then it'll be me here again, talking about the NFC North with you, talking about the Packers, talking about the Lions, talking about the Bears even. Not really talking about the Vikings. But that's an episode for next week. So for now, I've been your host, Carson Williams, and thank you so much for watching Lombardi Party.